Hello and welcome everyone to WTF Live, Window Treatment Friday Live. This is episode number 20, and it is our monthly designer highlights. So we're very excited to highlight some of our designers and some designers that we want to showcase the wonderful window treatments that they have on their projects.
One of my favorite types of episodes to do, as
Yes.
much as I love doing hardware and pleats and panels and whatnot,
Absolutely.
it is actually the wonderful talent of our design community that is so endearing and wonderful, and for us to use this platform to showcase them, one of my favorite things to do.
All right, and quick intros real quick. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kim. I work for WindowWorks. We are located in Livingston, New Jersey. We are a retail and trade showroom. We specialize in window treatments and awnings. So if you have any window treatment or awning projects that you need our help with, give us a call.
And I am the owner of Vitalia Inc., window treatments and awnings as well. Unlike Kim, we're located in the greater Philadelphia area, and we serve exclusively to the trade, meaning interior designers and architects primarily. So if you are looking for the right partner, the right company to support you with your window treatment needs, please give us a call, email, DM, PM, whatever you need to do. We'll be happy. There's so many, I have like 6 different pings on my phone for different things. And like when my phone is blowing up, I'm like, Voxer, DM, PM, this. So anyway, we are your one-shop go-to resource for window treatments and awnings for interior designers. So give us a call, give us a ping, whatever it takes.
Hello out there in Facebook world to Anton and Anna, who are also watching.
Are they watching already? Yes. You can tell. I can't tell you. And, my kiddos.
And Gina. Hey, Gina.
Our loyal listeners, right? Yes. What would we do without our family? Forget anybody else. Nobody else watches or listens, but our family is here.
Hey, guys.
Love you, kiddos. All right, let's get started. If I can get this to work, would be great. Hang on. Oh, come on. Really?
She is of Decorated Interiors, local here to us out of Montclair. I've known Campbell for a couple years now, and she is a great colleague and friend. And this project that we are going to highlight is one that we did for one of her clients a couple years ago. And this was a sunroom project. So with this, the client lives, this is the sunroom that faces a main road. And so with the backyard and everything else that you can see the right into the sunroom and then into the living room and whatnot with when you're coming down the hill. So the client wanted some kind of privacy, but they didn't want to cover the top part of the window because they still wanted to be able to see out. So we came up with these, instead of doing like a shirred, rod pocket panel, these are really, they're have 0 to like very little fullness. They're almost flat. They look like they have a little bit of fullness because of the shadow, but the ones in the back, you could almost see that are completely flat. And so what we did there was we installed them on like non-decorative rods and just did an inside mount and did a very light sheer lining fabric behind it so that this way you could protect the panels and whatnot. So they were able to get the best of both worlds, have privacy at the privacy level. So if they're sitting there reading a book, it wasn't like they were on display for all the neighborhood to see, especially on the cut through street with people coming down the hill, and they could still see out and look at their beautiful backyard.
Nice. And it's almost like it's part of the window. It's almost like the window was frosted or something, There's really very little fullness there. And it's actually neat. I don't think I've ever done a cafe curtain that was that flat. I mean, it has a little bit of wave to it, which is nice. It's not like a sheet, but it's really quite nice.
Yeah, it was, they didn't want anything because they wanted to make the room feel a little bit more contemporary. As you can see, the fireplace is painted black. So it wasn't something that they wanted a lot of gathered in fullness, so we opted to go the flat route. So
and I also really like how you guys did it in white to match the trim of the window, so really truly kind of disappears and becomes part of the window. And especially looking at the rest of the decor with such bold and prominent fireplace and the bold and prominent pillows, and I see the chair in the back, adding yet another color to the window treatment, which I'm assuming is a pretty narrow sunroom, would have been too much.
Yeah. So it was something that they had a lot of things on their wish list. Privacy, they wanted like, cover the bottom half of the window, didn't want top down, bottom up because they didn't want the strings,
Oh,
something
yes.
that kind of disappeared. And then, if they want the ability to open the window, they have that flexibility to pull it open. We've also done it with cafe curtains where we've actually, depending on the window itself, if it's a wood window, we've installed it right on the window. So that this way, if the customer wants to open the window, the panel goes with the
Oh,
window. Yeah, we've done
gotcha. I'm
that.
like, what do you mean on the window? Okay,
Yeah.
got it, got it. So it
So
moves with the panel versus on the
mhm,
trim, you
on the
install it
yep.
still on the trim, but the trim that moves together with the window, with the
Yes,
glass.
it's instead of it yet being like an inside mount like you would do with a
Mm-hmm.
blind or a Roman shade, we install it on the actual window itself so that
Mm-hmm.
this way, if you want the flexibility to open the window, you can do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice tip there,
Yeah.
actually. I like it. All right. Next designer is
Mm.
from me. This is Shannon Doozy of Doozy Design. And so I actually I emailed her today, this morning, I think. I'm like, Shannon, I don't have your headshot. And she's like,
Ah,
I don't have one. I'm like, what do you mean?
yeah.
And so that gave her a good idea for marketing purposes. But this is the candid that she sent me, which was really funny because she's like, I'm always with the tape measure, I'm always
There you
measuring
go.
something on the jobs. And she's like, my contractors know that if they give me their tape measure, forget it, they might as well say goodbye to it. So here's my friend Shannon Doozy, the tape
That's
measure
funny.
thief. Do not give her one of yours. Um, so she is a very talented designer. She's Philadelphia based, primarily on the main line. And she started her business in 2008. And prior to that, she had
Mhm.
10 years of experience in commercial design. And like many other
Okay.
designers, she started by decorating her friends and family's houses because, when you're
Mhm.
talented like that, everybody around you asks for help.
Exactly.
So that's how many designers started in the industry, as we know from Luann's podcast. So
Mhm.
that was Shannon's path as well. And now, 2008, I guess 12 years later, 13 years later, she is producing beautiful interiors. She specializes in kitchens
Mhm.
and bath, as well as the decorating portion of the interior as well. And she and I were just recently having a conversation, and she was saying that because of the whole COVID situation, and I think we're all experiencing it, with everybody sitting
Mhm.
around their homes and staring at their maybe
Oh,
drab
yeah.
places, or maybe not so drab, but they need to be redecorated or redesigned
Yep.
because of Zoom meetings and homeschooling and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she's been very busy with the decorating projects. This particular shot I really love. It's a very simple Roman shade, but this choice of fabric is just phenomenal. I absolutely love this choice. I love the Kelly green, which I
Mhm.
think Kelly green is coming back. I don't know if you're noticing it.
Okay.
Okay, so I have to tell you, in the last just a couple of weeks, I have 3 projects that are using Kelly green. I mean,
Okay.
like, how about that? So everybody watch out for Kelly green.
All right.
So there's Shannon on the forefront of the Kelly green trend, I suppose, with this simple but very
Mhm.
timeless and classic Roman shade with beautifully merchandise console table with some baskets underneath. The Roman shade is inside mounted to
Mhm.
preserve that beautiful trim around the window. You can tell that it's nicely made, custom made with um, hems all around. You can see also that the flaps, the side flaps to hide the mechanism,
Mhm.
align properly and nicely with the side hems, so that when there's a shadow variation, there's not a whole lot of gunk going on between the
Right.
flaps and the hems, and where the lining starts. So I thought this was classic, timeless, simple, beautiful Roman shade in a gorgeous and very avant-garde now fabric, Shannon,
Yeah.
in case in case somebody was questioning. So
Nice
beautifully
job.
done, Shannon.
Nice job. Okay, so next up, we have Allie Morose of Allie Morose Design. She is local here in Jersey out of Westfield. She is an interior designer, has her storefront there with her husband, Michael Robert Construction. So we work a lot on them on their, design to build projects. So her husband builds them and then she goes in and decorates them and really
Beautiful.
comes up with some really great designs. So this project that we did um, is a guest room. It's actually her guest room in her home. So it was really great to kind of work on this. And I love the idea of where she had just wall to wall drapery and it kind of wrapped around.
Hmm.
And with this, you can't tell where it starts and stops
Yep.
in terms of where the drapery starts and stops. So the panel behind the bed is actually a center open panel. So it
Hmm.
opens like this. So if she ever wanted to have the panel on the left side closed, these draw and they make a pair. And the panel on the left wall there, that one is a left stack. So it's a one-way
Okay.
draw. So, and we also decided she built these pockets out of crown molding. So
Hmm.
they every room in the house has crown. And what she did very smartly was she pulled the crown off the wall so
Hmm.
that this way we could hide all the mechanism and the rods and everything else. And what you don't see is like the windows behind also have blackout roller shades with fascias. So everything just kind of disappears.
Hmm.
And I just love the clean, like you want to actually like visit and sleep there. Like that's
Yes.
how I feel. Like it's just so very warm and welcoming and inviting. And yeah, and the idea of putting everything in a pocket so you don't see it just disappears. I'm seeing this more and more, especially with new construction, where everyone just kind of wants to hide the rods
Hmm.
and just have it look like it's floating through from the ceiling. I'm working on a couple projects now,
Okay.
so that you'll see in the winter time in January or so, where we're actually bearing channels into the ceiling. So instead of it being a pocket, we're giving the
You're cutting
contractors,
through drywall in the
yeah.
ceiling.
So, and because a lot of these are new builds, we're giving the contractors pieces of the track
Hmm.
so that they can see, okay, this is how big we have to make it so that it looks like the ripple fold drape is literally just floating from the ceiling.
From the
So
ceiling.
this is
Very
another way.
European look.
Yes. So this is just a tip that when you're working with a client who's in construction phase, these are the kinds of conversations that you want to have. It is okay to call, myself or Vita, even though the project might not happen for a year's time, but you want to get all these kinks out now. Before it's too late. Sheetrock is up, especially if you want to do motorized treatments and
Hmm.
things like that. You have the opportunity to do motorized drapery rods with these kind of pockets. So those are just a couple things to keep in mind when you're working in new construction. Do not be afraid to call a window treatment expert in the beginning, because we could really help you out in terms of window clearances, pockets, and especially if you're doing
Projections.
yes, things of that nature. Yeah. When
The
my
biggest.
cousin was building his house, he said, "What do I need?" I said, "Well, we don't know what we're doing in terms of Roman shades, blinds, or whatever." I said, "I need a 3-inch inside mount clearance." I said, "Don't
Hmm.
give me anything that's like an inch and a half, and then we want
Yep.
to do cordless because you have 3 girls,
Hmm.
and then you're going to spend millions of dollars on moldings because then I'm going to have to cover them." So he was like, "What?" I said, "Tell the builder that's what we need," and he gave me 3 inches, so we have plenty of space to do whatever we
Nice.
want. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. And that's such a great tip, Kim, that you gave about calling your window treatment specialist way ahead of
Mm-hmm.
the time where you would normally decorate the space. It is truly during the construction process where you have to make the decisions of
Right.
where the window treatments will go if you want to have that kind of floating look.
Sure.
And the one question that we get asked a lot by our designers is how deep to make that pocket,
Mm-hmm.
or how high up, and then
How,
how
how
deep, I
deep this
suppose,
way? Yeah.
like
From
this way and this
this
way,
way.
right?
Yep.
Height wise, and and it's interesting that you gave the track to the builder. I hope it did not. Well, it didn't in this
Mm-hmm.
case, but just a word of caution, just because the track is an inch or an inch and a half, it doesn't mean that the pocket needs to be only an inch,
Oh no no no
right?
no
It
no
needs to be
no.
a lot bigger so that when the
Right.
drapery is installed inside the pocket and onto that rod, it has room to breathe and it has room to fold back and forth,
Right.
especially the
Well,
ripple fold, where it definitely needs all that
yes.
space to fold back and forth.
So with that, like we always tell the contractors, we need a 6-inch interior
Yes.
pocket,
Yes.
not a 6-inch overall pocket. So it's the inside. But with the track, what it is it's literally just cutting like an inch and a half so that it floats. And then yeah, so we tend to leave, we send the tracks on site to the contractors, but then we tell them don't install them work
Mm-hmm.
on them. 'Cause
So, okay, so I see what you're saying.
yeah,
So that little cut in into the ceiling, it strictly is for the track,
just for the track.
and the carriers hang below the ceiling line. Then, aha,
Uh-huh.
I see
Yeah.
what you're
So
saying.
then it's
Okay.
like, so then the ripple fold literally looks like, here's your ceiling. The
Yep, I
ripple fold
understand now.
literally is just, it looks like it's just magically floating from the ceiling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nicely done, girl. All right. Next is a designer here in Philadelphia. Her name is Barbara Eberline of Eberline Design Consultants. She has had her business since 1984, and she
Yeah.
is a powerhouse here in the Philadelphia area,
Mm-hmm.
not only because she's had her business for all these years, but because she is incredibly experienced and also very highly respected in the industry for everything she has done in terms of her own design, in terms of the contribution to the industry, and also in terms of the contribution to the ASID chapter here in the
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia area. She is also known for being a specialist in antiques, in historical restorations, and she's just an overall amazingly talented designer. We personally, Vitalia Inc. does not do her window treatments,
Mm-hmm.
even though every time I look at them, I'm like, I start drooling and
Yeah.
salivating. And I have to tell you, Kim, I mean, I've told you I think this before. I am really rooting for these traditional swags and cascades and jabots and,
Yes,
and all
I
that stuff to come
know.
back. I really truly I can't wait. Not just from the business standpoint and all the beautiful fabric that it would get and how it would drape it here on the wall,
Sure.
and it's just from the workroom standpoint, I would love to start working on these types of projects again. But just like, I don't know, I have to tell you, even on the personal level, we've been for so many years, we've been in this, clean, understated,
Right.
streamlined, straight panels, white, gray, kind of like, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
There's really, I mean, yes, of course, there's creativity involved in that. But, when you see something like this with a
Right.
beautiful bay window, with gorgeous panels, these beautiful fabrics and different jabots, it's just, there's something that is, I don't know. It feels of like a renaissance to me. It
Mm-hmm.
feels warm, and I want the rebirth of that.
Well,
So
it's
every chance I can get to advocate for that, here I go again.
no, I mean, I'm feeling you on like
Oh, me
drapery
too,
hardware.
Susan Duran.
Yeah.
Thank you. My colleague here at Adol's Down. She's like, me too. I guess you want traditional stuff too. Thank you, Susan.
I'm trying to bring back wood hardware because everything has
Hmm.
been metal, 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 metal. So I
Thin,
have,
thin,
yeah.
thin, thin.
So I actually, the shoemakers kit, I have to do the window treatments in my own home. So in my living room, I keep saying to Carlos, I want to do a wood pole. I want to do a wood pole. He was like, wood, really? And I'm like, yes, we are going to do a wood pole because right in the next room we have metal. So
You're going to be the trailblazer in your
I
own
think
house. You
so. I'm
lead
gonna
by
try.
example.
I'm gonna try. So we'll see. We haven't settled on a poll yet. We're debating with a couple of options, but it's going to be wood, and it will be featured one Friday once I can get my stuff together.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So just one other thing that I wanted to mention about this particular photo, a lot of Barbara's designs are very traditional. They're
Mhm.
steeped in tradition and steeped in this beautiful shapes with beautiful swags and cascades and oftentimes puddling draperies. And in addition to that, I also wanted to point out how her overall design talent, how it's manifesting in this room. I hope you can see that the fabric on the chairs is actually an animal print fabric.
Yes.
It's green. It's not black and white or orange. It's green, but nonetheless, it's still animal print.
Mhm.
And then the rug underneath is actually a very traditional, what looks like an traditional Oriental rug. So here, and then we have this bold fabric on the drapery with really large repeat. So I love me some designers who take risks risks and who combine all these different fabrics and patterns
Sure.
in one room and make it work, because it is truly the sign of a designer touch and a professional working on the room versus a homeowner, trying to pull some things together and staying
Mm-hmm.
safe. So I love these risks, and I love how Barbara pulls it all together, and she knocks it out of the ballpark every single time.
And it's green.
Thank you for noting. There's an elephant in the room, and
Green.
there goes Kelly Green again. Yeah, well, maybe not quite Kelly, but
It's
definitely
in the
Green.
green family. Yeah.
It's in the Green family.
The next designer that we're going to feature is Jean Stouffer of Jean Stouffer Design. She is out of Detroit. We had the pleasure of doing a project for her here on the East Coast. And we did too. This next project that we're going to feature was here in Tenafly, New Jersey. And what I wanted to showcase about this is, again, I love when we do a drape in a bathroom. And people
Yes,
think it's
love,
very,
love.
it's not, conventional to do panels, but we did. And we did the practical, which was the top down, bottom up.
Shade.
The shade, thank you. And then followed by the just stationary panels on a brass French return rod, because it matched the other brass elements in the bathroom. So it's just a way to another example of, don't be afraid to ignore, throw panels up. Don't ignore the windows in the bathroom. You always have an opportunity to really just make it look pretty.
Love the French returns on the
Yeah.
rod.
Yeah.
Really, really like it a lot. Nicely done.
Yes.
Our next designer is Michelle Plachter of Michelle
Mm-hmm.
Plachter Designs. And she is another powerhouse in the Philadelphia area. She is Philly-based. Her projects range, in terms of geographical area, they range from the city to the shore, various places in South Jersey, University City, and in general, the Philadelphia area. And this is someone who I have personally come to know in the last year.
Yes.
We are privileged and honored to be working with her right now this year. So she is a newer designer for us. And we installed one project already, and we're working on two fairly sizable jobs for her that I can't wait to install. They're going to go up like October, November, December timeline. And there's so many things that I can say about Michelle. Actually, I don't even know where to start, because otherwise the show will go on forever, and it's 12:30 already. I just want to highlight one thing. Here's what I'm going to highlight. I mean, she's an incredible designer, and we'll see that in just a second in her work. But I wanted to mention this. In April, so this is 2020, during the thick of COVID times. And, here we are in September, and it's also, I mean, almost like this reality for us right now that COVID is part of
Mm-hmm.
our everyday life. But in April, it wasn't. And if I can remind us, this is when we were all scared of our boots.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know how it's all going to affect our
Right.
business. We were all stuck at home. We weren't seeing people or anyone, or really talking much to anyone besides occasional Zoom calls. And Michelle and her team did such a wonderful thing towards their clients and their vendors, their trades. They put together actually a Spotify collection of the various music that they like, so that all of us who are stuck at home and working at home can have their earbuds or these things and just listen to the various music that they listen in the office. But more than that, the little known fact about Michelle is she was a professional singer before turning interior designer, and she recorded and sang this beautiful song just for her clients and for her trades.
Nice.
And that's kind of like, that was her gift of compassion and kindness and unity and togetherness that she was able to give to all of us back in April during those, weird times. And I remember receiving that email and crying, actually. I remember I just, just had like tears in my eyes it was just very heartwarming. And I felt like we all belonged and we all were together somehow. And it was a very, very kind thing to do by her. So I really appreciated her for that. Thanks, Michelle. All right, on to her work. This is the picture that I wanted to highlight of hers. We didn't do it. This is her previous work, and I can't stop admiring it.
Mm-hmm.
She's also the person, a designer who uses bold patterns in her designs in general, but especially in her window treatments, which again, I really respect and admire. To use this blue and white Greek key fabric
Right.
on the entire panel. Oh my God, like what a risk taker. I mean, we've seen plenty of solid panels with Greek key trim down the leading edge, and that's expected. That's cool. I have it in my house. I'm not a risk taker, clearly. But here she goes with these bold, beautiful drapes that make a statement. So I thought that was phenomenal. And then another thing that I wanted to kind of highlight is the cornice that she did at the top is just solid white with contrasting blue piping. And I thought that was really different, because what we usually see is something that is darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. And she reversed this notion. And I thought that was really different. Again, kind of a risk-taking thing to do. And just bravo, Michelle.
Yeah, from real quick, it looked like it was hung on
a blue rod.
And that's so I was kind of like, I was looking at it when you said it's a corner. I'm like, oh, I see it now.
That's exactly what I did at first. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Wait, hang on. What's happening there? There's a cornice there.
I was like, where do we get a blue rod from? I want to use it.
I know. Actually, the flat glass collection by Kirsch. Chroma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think Byron has they used to anyway. They had some really cool painted
and
things like
we don't use them often. I know I have their catalog. They're not one of our go-tos, but good to know.
Yep. Again, wood.
All right.
The next design team that I wanted to highlight are Hudson and Bloom. It is Megan and Janelle. They are actually a bi-coastal interior design firm. So Janelle lives over in Park City, Utah, and Megan lives here in Jersey. So so we work on all their Jersey projects. And this project was one that we did last year. It was for a beach house down in Manahawkin. Mm-hmm. And a house right on the water, with most of the bedrooms facing the ocean. So part of the challenge was, and you can see in this photo here, is the trying to get the room darkening and still being able to get the view of the ocean. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm like looking at that. I'm like, this is such a pretty picture. I'm like, la la la. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. I was like, I don't know if she's having technical difficulties.
No, I'm just like, I'm in la la land there for a second.
It's like all the years that I was in dance, and they always said if the music stopped and you were performing, you just had to keep going. The
show must go on. Good for
you. So with this,
and eventually the rest of us catch up. Sorry about that.
So with this, the challenge was the client wanted to have, because they were their home is right on the beach and right with a walkway where it's a public walkway where people could walk past. We did a privacy layer, which is the shears that you can kind of see peeking out from the side. And then they also wanted room darkening panels. So, but then they also wanted to not really obstruct too much of their view. So there was, the 3 wish lists here. So it was a challenge of the door not being centered on the wall, how much further out we had to go. We didn't want to go too much into the corner and things of that nature. So there's a lot of different things. I love the way that it turned out. I saw the home in construction. So, when you go in and you're working in the first phases of the window treatments, since I don't go on the end, so I never really get to see the end result until I see photographs. And I'm like, oh, that was the vision. That looks so pretty. So this was a room that, again, you can just look at that view. It's just such a great view, and who wouldn't want to lay in bed and look at that? So,
interestingly, I noticed the chaise first, and I'm like, why is it pointing towards the window? Because usually, like in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, here you would be pointing from the corner, diagonal from the corner, pointing towards the bed. I'm like, well, that's different. And then I'm like, oh, the view, of course, that's why. Makes so much sense.
The ocean. Yeah. So they have an amazing view. This home has an amazing view. So
looks like it. All right. And our final designer is Michelle Winitsky of Michelle Winitsky Interior Design. She is the beautiful lady featured on the right, and she is actually standing in this particular picture with her associate, who is also Michelle. And I picked this picture particularly. It's not exactly her headshot, but I really like the two of them because every time I see them, or used to when we used to go to networking events or whatever events, they would always be together. And it's been many, many years. I think I've have seen Michelle around in the industry for about 10 years, believe it or not, maybe even more. And I've always seen them together. And I just think it's really wonderful to have that kind of longevity with your staff and that kind of loyalty to each other. So I had to put that picture of them together. And then another reason I chose this one is because Michelle is holding an IDA award. IDA is the Interior Design Awards held here in the Philadelphia area by the Philadelphia chapter of ASID. They're held twice a year, and they were actually supposed to be held again this year in 2020 in May. And of course, we all know what happened to all the public gatherings in 2020. So we're holding them virtually on November 6th. So anybody listening, please tune in. The attendance via Zoom or some other, I'm sure it'll be Zoom, is free. And this is the chance to celebrate and really honor all those, not those who won, but also who entered, and the rest of the design community. And so this particular picture was taken 2 years ago when Michelle won an award in her category, and well deserved, because this
very
is
pretty.
just one example of her work. She's very active on Instagram, actually, so I highly recommend that you guys go and find her on IG and follow her. Her work is just amazing. I wouldn't even know where to begin from the design elements, construction elements, window treatments. There's window treatments in every single one of her projects. We are not lucky enough to do her window treatments. I'm very sad to say. Some other company is and remain that way. I'm happy for all of our colleagues. And just the way she pulls together furnishings and colors, flooring, accessories, lighting. My God, look at this light fixture. The way she pulls it all together is really phenomenal. She sometimes has kind of like in process shots during the installation, and the way it all kind of gets put together. And then, of course, where she does her magic is just phenomenal. I have an amazing amount of respect for Michelle, and just her work is impeccable. So I think very well deserved to. I've been wanting to feature her for a while now. This is, I think, our third or fourth time doing the design feature. So I'm really glad that I was finally able to do that. Great work, Michelle.
Okay, and that wraps up this week's episode of WTF. We do have some free goodies for you on the Window Works website. It's Architectural Digest is Not Coming, 10 things you need to know about window treatments. Luann wrote this ebook a couple years ago, so if you're new to window treatments, I would definitely say download it. And you can hit it, it's on our website, so if you go to windowworksnj.com, you'd be able to find it there.
Cool. Sorry, I'm just going to read a comment from I can't tell. Baxter
the Maltese.
Oh, thank you so much. Can you read it? Can you see it?
It says,
is that in your area?
I love your work. I have 2 windows in a home office that need window treatments. They face the street. I want privacy, and there's no... Okay. All right. So, Baxter, I would say hit us up with a DM, and we'll be able to help you out.
There it is. Perfect. I'm glad it's working out, and it's good. It's good marketing. It's good prospecting. People are getting together via these lives. Projects are getting done. People are getting information, inspiration. Excellent. I'm glad this is all working for everybody. All right, and we'll just go to our goodie that we have for our interior designers on vitaliainc.com. It's a special lookbook that we created called 37 and a half window treatment ideas to use immediately. Steal, swipe, and make your own in your next design project. Curated by yours truly. I kind of walk you through the different projects and point out what was done and how to do it. And it's just a great eye candy and inspiration that you can use at any point on your next design project.
There you go. And to keep up with all things Luann, be sure to follow her on Instagram at Luann Igara, and to listen to the audio version of WTF, because that's where this originated from. You can go to Luann's website, luannigara.com, and hit the podcast tab, and just on the search tool, hit WTF, and all of Luann and Vita's episodes will pop up, and they will be there.
And we have been doing these for about a little bit over a year now. I think we have like 11 or 12 episodes there. We try to hit them about once a month or so, and we always have a great time just talking and bantering about window treatments, whether it has to do with specific style or maybe a specific situation. Sure. So it can be any one of those things and everything in between.
Okay, and if you have any questions for me and you want to keep up with all the things that we're doing here at WindowWorks, be sure to follow us on Instagram at WindowWorks and Facebook as well. And if you have any questions, you can give us a call or email us.
Awesome. And the same thing goes for Vitalia Inc. If you guys are in the Philadelphia area, we would love to hear from you. We are your one-stop go-to resource for all things window treatments and related projects. We are at heart a project management company. So yes, of course, we give you the most superb quality product in terms of window treatments and related products. But what we're really, really good at is taking the stress off of your shoulders, saving you time, saving you money a lot of times, providing you information, giving you knowledge, and ultimately supporting you throughout the entire window treatment process. It's like having a window treatment specialist on your team without actually having one on your team, because we give you that Vitalia Inc. VIP treatment. So if you're looking to be that supported in your window treatment projects, please give us a call.
Alrighty, everyone. Well, that is the episode. I'm so happy that you were able to join us, and we hope to see you next Friday at 12, because if it's Friday,
it's WTF Live.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining, everyone.